have any other friends, I know we have a cousin, Torrance, who wanted to come up. So if you want to share some memories of Quintonio, please let me know and come up. Yeah.
Hello everyone. Good evening. Yeah. Um, um, I wanted to write something for today, but I kind of couldn't come up with really anything on paper to say. Honestly, I haven't really gotten out of bed for the past few days because I've been laying in the bed clutching one of those game balls that we got back when we used to play baseball. And my yearbook is just right by my bed now. I found it funny that he just said that he was my cousin because we were so close that we came up with this lie that we were related by marriage because we were that close, and people always had things that they had to say, and we were like, nah, we blood, we related by marriage. And I don't remember, we went from cousin to brother to nephew, uncle, this and the other, and at the end of the day I know that was my brother. He wrote to me, he said, you're a crazy individual who has no problem expressing yourself, and that is why you're my little brother. We have years ahead of us, and I look forward to these years. YOLO. It hurts so much for the simple fact that I wasn't here for Quintonio within this past semester while he was away at NIU. I got so caught up in my life that I had forgotten about a lot of my friends. I hadn't been communicating. And, there's an issue that I have with the fact that he was alone on Christmas. I want that to sink in to a lot of people. That wasn't the only time Quintonio was alone. Quintonio knew how it felt not to be accepted. But out of the both of us, he would always tell me that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. He would tell me to keep my head up, and I'm not very spiritual, but that boy loved him some God. And no matter what little mischievous things we could do, that boy made sure that I knew who God was. He knew that there would be some good that would come out of all this struggle. He would assure me that everything would be okay. And when he needed friends the most, people made fun of him. Let me tell y'all truth. If you know somebody who's struggling, you help them. This past semester at NIU was not the best semester for Quintonio. People made fun of him. People talked about him. They put him on Snapchat. They ridiculed him and made him feel less than a human being. And I was not there to help him. So when people sit around and they wanna justify him being shot down because maybe he picked up a bat, maybe he was angry. Damn right he was angry. I'm angry, and I would have been angry too. So don't you dare tell me that just because he had a bat in his hand, that a 35-foot reach taser could not have stopped him. Don't you tell me you had to shoot him so many times. So when you go out there in this world and you see somebody hurting, you see them going through something, please reach your hand out, please. Please just reach your hand out and help them. Please. Quintonio was such a loving person. I don't want to take too long. But there's this picture that I brought. Sade has it, but it was this little ugly mural that he had drew of himself, and he asked me how it looked and if it looked anything like him, and I'm like, well, you know, you got the do-rag correctly. You know, it looks like you a little bit. And that's the kind of craziness that he was about. And our yearbook, the last yearbook that I had from Brooks, there were, you know, everybody gets their pictures in each section. And, you know, I was in different things, and I'm like, hey, I'm in the yearbook this many times. And he's like, well, I'm in the yearbook twice. And I'm like, what? I'm like, look, I specifically looked through that yearbook to try to find a picture of you and of me, and I couldn't find any of you except in the sophomore section. And he was like, I bet you I'm in that book another time. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And so the very next day, he's like, look on the first page. And there's this page, it's all black, and at the very bottom, there's this picture of Alberto. And he's like, look at the very back of that picture, and you see his shoulder and the back of his head. And I was like, oh, you got a nice head and a nice shoulder. But that was the goofiness, that was Quintonio. He was so loving, so happy, so full of life. And I'm gonna miss him so much, man. I'm really gonna miss him. I love you, man. I love him so much. I just ask that, I just pray that, he's trying his hardest to hit a home run up in heaven and still balling up there too. And I ask that you all just keep him in your prayers and just love each other, please. Just love each other and look out for one another, because it could be any one of us, y'all. It could be any one of us. And it shouldn't have been him. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. You should never call for help, call for compassion, call for assistance, and receive harm and violence. Quintonio's family called public servants to serve compassionately, but that is not what arrived. What arrived were cops ready to shoot and kill without asking questions. Cops are called to a majority black community. All they know is shoot. All they know is kill. All they know is murder. All they know is bloodshed. That was what the family of Betty Jones and Quintonio received. And that is not what they should have gotten. And we just want to send love out to them, because that's what they need right now is love. So we'll have a couple more folks come up.
Hello everyone, my name is Monet Booth and this is Gerald Pope, and we were both friends of Quintonio. He was in Division 406 with us, and we've been knowing him since freshman year. And honestly, I just want to speak. I'm not going to say that me and Quintonio were the best of friends, but when we did have our conversations, he was very humble. He was a very humble young man. He was so nice. He never caused anyone any problems. So for people to say that, you know, he was being very militant and very angry, that was not Quintonio. Quintonio was a nice person. You walk in the hallways, you see him smiling, you see him laughing. And anytime he talked to me, he always showed me great spirits, and he didn't bother a soul at all. And for this to have happened to him, it's just so sickening, like sickening to my stomach, because to wake up and to find out that someone you went to high school with for 4 years, sat next to in these classes, learned the same ways in these classes, to know that they were gunned down by police officers who are here that are quote unquote to serve and protect, that's not right to me, and that really hurts my heart. And it's just so sad that it happened to someone. Like, when you hear these stories, you don't think that it could happen to someone so close to you, and it has happened. And the fact that Chicago is not trying to give him the proper justice is just even worse to me. And I just can't fathom the fact that this young man is dead. Like, I still sit here to this day like, Quintonio LeGrier is dead. Quintonio LeGrier is dead. Trying to find myself the time to actually understand that this man is dead, and I just can't. Like, this is unreal to me. I just can't.
Well, reflecting on the words Monet said, we both in his division, and we both played baseball together for 4 years. She was our manager. And I remember a time when Quintonio got walked on the baseball diamond. He stood there and would not go to first base until he got a hit. He held up the whole game and told him he was not going to first base until he got a hit. Quintonio was determined, persistent. He was humble, as she said. He was the nicest person you could have met. Nothing was wrong in Quintonio's eyes. I remember riding the bus with him every day, standing on that corner. And I remember I didn't have $1 to go home one day. And Quintonio gave me his last $1 to go home. He wanted to go to the store. He said, man, I want to go get me a honey bun so bad, but I'm going to give you this $1 so you can get home. That was like my brother, man. Like, a few of us on the baseball team are out here. He tried his hardest, although we were not the best. And everybody can tell you we lost a lot of games. Quintonio stayed optimistic. He would always come after the game. He wouldn't get mad. We'd be mad, cursing each other out. And Quintonio would be the only one sitting there saying, just try harder. Just do your best. It could have been his fault. And not his fault. He'd still be like, try your best, try harder. In school, he never had problems. You never seen him in the principal's office getting in trouble. He always had an upbeat attitude. And for me, I'm not in college like the rest. I'm in the Navy. For me to come home, the only 15 days I get to come home out the year, and to hear another one of my friends has passed away is really heartbreaking. Because we try our best every day. We go to this nice gated school, and to hear that my friend, who I played on a team with for 4 years, my brother got shot down, it's not something I want to come home to see. So I want everybody to keep his family and Miss Betty Jones' family in y'all prayers, and just try to uplift the community. Stuff like this we should not be so desensitized to events like this. You know, so that's all we have. Thank you.
On behalf of Division 406 and the entire class of 2014, we love you, Quintonio LeGrier. We appreciate your spirit, and we hope that you are having a great time in heaven. Thank you. Thank you so much. A friend, a loved one, a cousin, a brother, someone who touched so many folks, someone who graduated from Gwendolyn Brooks College Prep, someone who was a student at NIU, someone who's an engineering student. All of those are amazing things and ways that Quintonio shared moments with us. But they are not the reason why, those reasons are not the reason why what occurred was wrong. It was wrong because he was a human being. He was a black person. It doesn't matter if he went to Gwendolyn Brooks. It doesn't matter if he went to college. The point is that the police, with all the training that they claim to have, could have gotten to him with tactics that did not include shooting him and death. He was a human being, a black person. Human beings, black people, do not deserve the violence that CPD is raining down on us. They don't. And I think that there are just a few more folks, a few more of Quintonio's friends that also want to share some memories. So we'll just keep inviting them so that we can just share in memory of our brother.
So when I heard the news that, well, when I seen the article of Quintonio being shot, it shook up my whole world. I'm not one of his closest friends, but I was the baseball manager for most of my duration at this school, and I would see him during the baseball season. And he always had a smile. He was always one of the first people to be dressed and equipped and come into play. I mean, even though he was one of the best people on the team, he always came on time, one of the first people dressed and equipped with a positive attitude. And even when we had those games and it'd be like this cold outside in March and raining, hail, and he would be there when 2/3 of the team weren't there and, ready to play. And he also ran the Chicago Marathon, 26.2 miles to help raise money for kids in Africa. And I ran that same race out of the goodwill to want to help people less fortunate. So that means he ran that race in the same mind as me. And it really hurt me because even though we spoke during baseball season in the dugouts, he always had something positive to say through our many losses. And always that smile in the hallway, and it really hurts me because I know he was a good person, and I know how he touched me, and we were not the best of friends. So I want to send my condolences to his family and to all his closest friends. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, I want to give a call to see if Diamond Beck is here. Is Diamond here? No? Okay. So I think that now would be a good time for us to light our candles. Unless we have, do we have any more friends that want to speak? I think we're good. Yeah. Okay, so if folks can just, just start making a straight line right behind these cameras. We're going to light the candles, and then we're going to have a moment of silence to lift up Quintonio and Betty Jones. Folks, come on up right over here.